Welcome to the Tallen Time podcast, featuring entrepreneur and philanthropist Terry Tallen and longtime award-winning journalist Tom Brew. We'll be telling you stories from around the country about sports, business, philanthropy, and mentoring. It's a full season of podcasts right here at tallentime.com. And welcome to the show. Hello everybody, Tom Brew here for Tallen Time, episode 9 already here, and we're at Cascades Golf Course in Bloomington, Indiana. Got a little golf outing going on today, but while we're here, we have the luxury of having with Terry Jim Gruden, who was the first man who saw any talent in you, who recruited you when he was the running backs coach at Indiana here and recruited you in Ohio. And as he mentioned earlier, he didn't see much talent, but had to get his Terry shot in. And we got Jim Gruden to join us today to talk about his time here at football, and he was kind enough to bring along his son, Jon Gruden. So we've got a great opportunity today to sit down for an hour and talk football with the Gruden boys, Jim and Jon Gruden, and it's got to be a real special day for you.
Oh, it sure is. It's great. There's a lot of history we're reliving today. Jim Gruden was the one that gave me my chance. He gave me my chance to be a student athlete at Indiana University, and I'm eternally grateful for that. You see that now in the world we've got with NIL and a number of other things, and back from those times, it was a lot of passion. It was a lot of hard work, and very glad the way it all worked out.
Yep, and we all of us, you and I both have our Indiana to Tampa connections and back and forth, and of course so do all the Grudens too. Jim Gruden coached here, went to Notre Dame and coached the Buccaneers, and I remember John as a young boy here, as a ball boy for the Indiana's basketball teams for Bob Knight, and then down in Tampa too. And of course John has had a great NFL career and Super Bowl champion in Tampa when I was down there with him, with my Buccaneers, got their first title. So it's going to be great talking football with all them all day long.
It sure is. We're going to talk about Big Ten football. We're going to talk about college football. We're going to talk about pro football. And we're even going to get to hear today what kind of music Jon Gruden loves. So that's a little bit of a nice treat with that as well. And some great history. And for those of you that are interested in coaching, that are interested in some Indiana football history, and for some of our current players to listen in and hear some of the history of Indiana players and some of the names that are going to be brought up on the show today, I think you'll really enjoy it.
Yep, it's going to be a great time. It's just an honor for us just to have Jim and Jon Gruden both here, and going to be a lot of great football talk. So we'll get right at it. We're here at Cascades Golf Course. We're going to play a little golf a bit later today too, which will be nice. But we'll be right back after a word from our sponsors, and we'll sit down first with Terry and his old coach, Jim Gruden.
Welcome to the Newcomb family. My name is Jim Poole. I'm the president and CEO of Solace Life Sciences, the neuroscience company that makes Newcomb. And what is it? It's simply a technology that when you're feeling stressed or you're not sleeping well, whatever it is that life brings you, Newcomb is a tool that predictably, safely, and reliably is going to take good care of you. Find a comfortable place. Put the disc on, eye mask, choose your track. You're going to lie down. What's going to happen? Your mind's going to wander. But here's how you'll know Newcomb's working. You'll begin to feel your body separate from your mind. Your mind's going to wander, and your body's going to feel heavy, and your respiration's going to slow down. And you're going to go somewhere where your mind just wanders and your body heals. And then at some point, you just kind of come to. Simply take off the eye mask, stop the track, take the disc off, and off you go.
And here they come, and Indiana got to him. Sack.
Indiana football is back.
Touchdown!
Hoosier fans, Indiana football tickets are on sale for November home games. Catch the action this fall at Memorial Stadium as head coach Tom Allen leads the Hoosiers in a battle against the Penn State Nittany Lions on November 5th. For more information or to purchase tickets, visit IUHoosiers.com. Support the Hoosiers in 2022. Go IU.
This ad is being brought to you by Barker Wellness, a vegan wellness company. Started by Blink-182 member and drumming legend Travis Barker, Barker Wellness covers all your lifestyle needs, from tinctures and gummies that aid in sleep, recovery, and maintenance, to the pain relief balms, rollers, and creams. They also have recently launched their vegan skincare line as well.
This is Terry Tallen and Tallen Time for Barker Wellness. Barker Wellness is one of our terrific sponsors that we're honored to have signing up for the program and to work with the people at Barker. We use many of their products. Their pain creams and ointments and rollers, especially the rollers, are fantastic. We highly recommend it for athletes, for those with arthritis, for those baby boomers that have these aches and pains. They also have hemp and non-hemp CBD products that help people sleep. And depending on what your needs are in those realms, Barker is the finest in the market. The management is extraordinary. They deliver what they sell, and I guarantee if you try Barker, you'll try no others.
Visit barkerwellness.com and use promo code TALLEN30 to get 30% off your first order.
All right, welcome to episode 9 of Tallen Time. We've got several very special guests with us here today, and I'm honored to have my former coach and the man that recruited me here at Indiana University, Jim Gruden, on the stage today. Coach, we've known each other now for 46 years.
Hard to believe it, huh?
It's hard to believe. We've got the picture that Haley's going to post on the website of actually signing my scholarship papers with Coach Gruden in my mom and dad's living room in Hamilton, Ohio, some 46 years ago.
Wow. Hamilton-Baden High School.
Hamilton-Baden High School. You have a lot of history in southwestern Ohio and specifically in Butler County, Ohio.
Yep. A couple other players there too. And you know, I used to work at Dayton, University of Dayton, so I got to know a lot of people, high school coaches in the area, and then of course Mike Harkrader and Jerry Harkrader was the coach at Fenwick, I believe, who was a former Ohio State halfback.
Yeah, he had a terrific career.
And he had a great career. He was great guy too, great guy.
And then you've got a lot of history with the McVay family as well.
Oh yeah, I used to work for Coach McVay. John McVay was the head coach at Dayton, and I was an assistant there. Then, of course, I recruited Tim McVay to go to Indiana. And his son is Sean McVay, who was the head coach of the Rams. So there's quite a bit of history with that family.
A lot of history, and I recall that Sean's, I think Sean's first job in the NFL was for Jim over in Oakland, with John over in Oakland.
Yeah, John, well, let's see. John was, let's see. I'm trying to think when John went to Oakland, he was with the 49ers working. John was a general manager of the 49ers at that time when John went to work for the 49ers, and then he moved on from there to all these other different jobs. I can't keep track of them all. He's had so many.
He's had a great career, and it's kind of the family business for the Grudens and the McVays. The history, and clearly you helped each other along the way, and everything certainly worked out great. There's a number of Super Bowls between the families in San Francisco and Tampa Bay. Also, when we talk about the McVays, Tim was a senior when I was a freshman here in Indiana, and he was a great role model as a team captain. I think he was probably one of the better team captains we've ever had here.
I always thought Tim was a great leader, a leader type kid. I thought he'd go into coaching, and then he spent one year with us as a graduate assistant. And he said, after being with you guys and the hours you spend, I ain't doing this for a living. He went out and made a lot of money in TV and did very well, you know. I see him every once in a while. In fact, he was at Napa when John was coaching the Raiders, and they scrimmaged the Rams, and he was up there to see his son, and we were all visiting. Had some great times.
Yeah, he was a general manager for Fox in Atlanta and in Oakland and other markets. He's now retired, but they say he's the de facto general manager of the LA Rams now.
Knowing Timmy, he's there all the time, but he's in a huddle after.
That's right. Les Snead, watch out! You got a McVay on you.
Do that. He was quite a kid, really. He was a high school quarterback when we recruited him, you know, and switched him to defense when he came to Indiana.
Yeah, he was a great leader. We worked together one time. We had a summer job together on the Monroe County Highway crew. And remember the first day they came out and they said, guys, don't work too hard. We just want you guys, we want you out here with us. So then they gave us a jackhammer. We worked our tails off.
It's good. Hamilton-Baden, did you play Lemon or Monroe in some of those schools? That's Steve Strinko. Remember him?
I do, and we played Lemon Monroe, and it's where Greg McIntosh went to school. And we also, that was, I think, some of the game film that you used when you recruited me.
I think so, yes. I did. The coach from there, he'd been a long time at Lemon Monroe, and he had some really good teams. That was a good area up in there. There's some good athletes up through Middletown and Hamilton. And remember Todd Bell? Was it Bell?
Todd Bell, yeah, the Ohio State, and he was a great sprinter also.
Yeah, he played safety for the Bears. Mm-hmm. I remember trying to recruit Todd Bell, and I didn't have enough money for him. He went to Ohio State.
Yeah, that's a football-rich area. In fact, that's one of the things when Coach Corso was on our episode 2, he was talking about the number of players that we had from Ohio. That was a football-rich area, and really they focused on it. And you were such a good recruiter that they put you into that area with your history and your recruiting.
You guys from your area and from Dayton area. A lot of kids from Dayton too.
We sure did.
There was a lot. We were happy. Hit it at the right time when there were a lot of good players up there at that time, and we got some good guys. They really performed well. We got to the point we could even beat Purdue, and that was the biggest thing.
That's right.
Beat Purdue was a good year.
You guys had a number of Purdue victories, and then as fate would have it, you had a calling from God, and you went up a little north in the state.
Oh yeah, I did. I remember that. Yeah, I did. That was tough, really, because the kids were all situated. John and Jay were all situated in Bloomington. We liked Bloomington. It was great. I loved IU. I really did. And I had a chance to go to Notre Dame. I could not go. Had to go up there. And it was quite an experience.
We just say you had a higher source that got you to go there. And then
Montana was our quarterback, so it was a good reason to go there.
That's a good reason. That's right. And then I remember a few years after that, you were down in Tampa Bay, and it was shortly, I think, right before I moved to Tampa. And I remember you were kind enough to invite me to a number of the Bucks games. You always had tickets for me at the will call, and I really enjoyed that. So I was over on the Space Coast, over in the Cocoa Beach area, and I'd come over for the games, and I really enjoyed that.
Well, I'm glad you did. Did we win any games when you were coming over?
I think they were 0-16.
Period in there, I know that. It was stretched out. I've had we had the ups and downs, some good teams and some really bad teams in there. So you get a lot of humbling in this profession, you know what I mean? You never know who you're going to be around it. The first couple of years at Indiana were real tough. And Coach and Lee was really hard to work for, strong guy. I mean, he had to be for the job we had. And when we came in here, really we had to recruit against Woody and Bo, and Ara Parsegian was still at Notre Dame. And you're trying to go in and talk a kid in when they want them. You're not very often to get those guys. But it was a tough job.
That was tough sledding, but we had good teams, and we also had a lot of good coaches here. We as we get together, we have our Holiday Bowl reunions and other reunions, we often talk about the quality of the assistant coaches. Yourself, Harold Morrow.
Jim Johnson was the defensive coordinator for the Eagles, probably the best defensive coordinator in the NFL for a long time.
No doubt about it.
And all those guys run that staff. That was an excellent staff. We all got along great. And it was hard to do because when you're losing, you can easily point the finger at somebody else. You know, we never did. We just kept plugging.
Mm-hmm. And that was the foundation. Our group eventually, going to a bowl game and winning a bowl game for Indiana. In fact, that 79 team was the first bowl victory in the history of Indiana University, and you guys set the foundation for that.
Yeah, we're very happy with the recruiting that we did. The guys we recruited, they were all solid kids. I would guess 99% of them all graduated that I know of. Mm-hmm. And so that's really what it's all about, make sure they get the degrees. Indiana
always put a premium on making sure that players graduated. There were no free rides, there were no help with the tests or anything like that. It was we all worked for it. And
Buzz Kirpius, didn't she work with you guys?
Yeah, she was terrific.
She worked with all you guys.
Yeah, she's still around, and Buzz was the first female college football coach, which was wonderful.
She was something because she worked hard with every one of the kids to make sure who they were. From the weakest to the strongest, she worked with all of them. She's a good person.
She sure was. She sure was. She is. We see her every so often here. Now, football, there's always a lot of great football stories, and as we say sometimes, true stories. We were with Coach Corso. He told a couple of his favorite stories. Tell us one of your favorite college stories or game day stories.
Well, there's quite a few of them. Probably my favorite deals with Mike Harkerader. We were losing the first couple of years. We were right on the throes of being fired. And I know we were. And it was our third year, I think, when we recruited Mike. Mike was a freshman. And Mike, he's 5'9", and he was a little white guy running around, long hair hanging down like this. And we're playing the first game of the year. We played Minnesota, and we lost. Courtney Snyder was our running back, and he was very good. He broke his leg. He was out. And we lost. And then we're going to play Nebraska. And that's when Nebraska was Nebraska. And we lost our second string running back, broke his leg too. And then the third string guy tore a hamstring. And this was the third game. The third game, playing the University of Washington on the West Coast. And Mike is standing right beside me now. We've lost Courtney, we lost Tony Suggs, we lost Derek Burnett, and we're getting playing Washington. They got Warren Moon and Robin Earl and all these guys. They were Don James was a coach. They were a Rose Bowl team. Right. And so it's going to be our third straight loss, and we'll be looking for a job tomorrow, right? So it's the first quarter. The back went out, and standing right next to me is Mike, and I said, Mike, you're really all we got left. And he went in the game, and very first play, they threw him a pitch out right in front of me, right in front of our bench, coming right toward us, and the defensive back from Washington was standing right there. And I closed my eyes. I said, oh my God, you're going to kill him. Never touched him. Never touched him. He was gone for 15 yards. And then it was another 10 yards, and it was another 20 yards. And pretty soon the whole team picked up, and don't we leave there beating Washington, winning that game. In fact, it was such a big day, we just got a Cocker Spaniel dog. We named our dog Harky.
I've heard that story. Your son told me that story.
Named him Harky because he saved our job.
And Harky's going to be with us here today. We're at the beautiful Cascades Golf Course here in Bloomington, Indiana. They were kind enough to allow us to shoot the podcast here this morning. And this was your home course, right, back in the day? And
yeah, I used to play here a lot.
This is where you taught John how to play golf and how to cheat. Well, what do they say? If you're not cheating, you're not trying.
And I did a lot of good people I met out here, a lot of good friends I had here from those days. That was a long time ago, Terry. You know, we're talking back in the 70s now. A long time ago.
A long time ago. Course looks beautiful, though.
Sure is. A little bit different, of course. We went around yesterday. It's a little bit different. Changed some of the holes. Mm-hmm. It's in good shape. It's in great shape. It was interesting time, though. Like I said, I was very fortunate to have been a decent player and played with the club championship a couple times here, and it was good.
And we're going to break for our sponsors in just a second. But also, you went to Wittenberg. Heidelberg. Sorry, you went to Heidelberg. You were not only the captain of the football team, but you're also captain of the golf team. Right. That's a pretty good combination. So you've got one sport that you can only play for so long, and one sport you can play forever. So that's a nice balance.
Yeah, I love golf. In fact, there was a time I grew up, when I was a caddy, when I was a little kid, that was really what I wanted to do, was play golf. I really did want to do that, but things worked out a different way.
Okay.
I remember I'll tell you what got me in golf is I was playing in a golf tournament in Mansfield, Ohio. Never forget, a state open or state amateur, and at that time it was hard to get from Cleveland, which is where I grew up, to Columbus. There was no super highways. It took 5 hours to get to Columbus, so you never really got to see anybody from down there. So I'm playing in this golf tournament, and I heard about this guy from Columbus, and so he was playing in a tournament the same day. So I played in the morning, and I was going to go watch him play a few holes in the afternoon. He was 16 years old, and I was 19, and I went and watched him play about 4 or 5 holes. And I said, I don't think golf's going to be in my future. Watching him. It was Jack Nicklaus.
Oh, yeah. The great Jack Nicklaus.
He was 16. I said, I don't think I'm going to do this for a living. No, I couldn't do what he could do when he was 16 years old. I mean, he hit the ball a mile. He did everything. He won the state open that year with the pros and amateurs when he was 16. So, you know, he was just a freak. He caused me to change my career.
Well, there was only one of him. He probably did that to a lot of people. I think he set a lot of people on a different trajectory. So, Coach, I want to thank you for being on the show today.
Thanks for having me, Terry.
We're going to do a couple other segments, and when we close out each segment, we always do it with a handshake. So thank you, and thank you for giving me a chance.
Hey, thanks for coming.
NewCom is neuroscience. It's not a fairy tale. It's not a bedtime story. There are a number of competitors in this space, and once you use NewCom, you'll find out who the real deal is. You'll benefit greatly from it. And don't be fooled by slick advertising. Go with the science. Science is where it's at.
I had 20 minutes of absolute escapism, peace. I mean, I was in like a twilight. I didn't know where I was or what was happening, but I never wanted it to end.
I can laugh with people. I don't get irritated. I don't get frustrated.
It is accessible. It's affordable. It's something that everyone can do.
And here they come. And Indiana got to him. Sack.
Indiana football is back.
Touchdown!
Hoosier fans, Indiana football tickets are on sale for November home games. Catch the action this fall at Memorial Stadium as head coach Tom Allen leads the Hoosiers in a battle against the Penn State Nittany Lions on November 5th. For more information or to purchase tickets, visit IUHoosiers.com. Support the Hoosiers in 2022. Go IU.
Living a healthy lifestyle is everything to me. I couldn't do what I do without taking care of myself and giving my body what it needs to keep going. Yeah, after boxing for years and training Muay Thai and playing drums and training for tours, recovery became a big issue for me and just figuring out how I could just keep going and not break down. I was using so many different CBD products and different lines of CBD that it became something I was really passionate about and I wanted to create my own. The vision of Barker Wellness was trying to create products that I could actually use and would help with recovery and be super functional. Every product is 100% vegan-based and cruelty-free. We don't use artificial flavors or preservatives, and there's absolutely no THC. Barker Wellness is all about creating a routine of healthy habits that fit into my lifestyle and hopefully yours.
Visit barkerwellness.com and use promo code TALLEN30 to get 30% off your first order.
Welcome back to the Tallen Time podcast, episode 9, and now we flip to the next generation of Grudens. Jon Gruden, happy to join us for this episode, and it was great listening to Terry talk to your dad. It's like, as I was mentioning when you guys got here, like our paths have all crossed. When Terry and I are in the same class in the late 70s and early 80s, and I remember your dad being his coach, and I remember little Jon Gruden being about 11, 12-year-old ball boy for Indiana's basketball team, and enjoying a little time, and then of course, our paths have crossed in the Tampa Bay area many times too. So we appreciate while we got you both here to chat with you. And that was question number 1 for you. Obviously, you lived here for a little bit of time. Tell me a little bit about some of your Bloomington memories as a kid and how you enjoyed being around Bloomington and Indiana.
Well, I'm 59 years old now, and this was the best, really, 5 years of our life as a family. We had great times with the IU football team, with the IU basketball team. It was the first time I made my first touchdown pass at Binford Elementary School. I got my first birdie out here at the Cascades on the 6th hole. Got my first kiss too here, by the way, Bloomington, Indiana. So this is where some of the greatest memories I have happened.
Yeah, and your dad was a coaching lifer. You are a coaching lifer yourself too. But how much of what you learned about being a good coach did you sort of inherit and learn and watch from your father?
A lot. Obviously I learned the work ethic is important. This is not what people think it is. There's a lot of behind the scenes effort that goes into coaching. You got to study, you got to recruit, you got to motivate, you got to do a lot of work to be any good. And you got to surround yourself with good players. And fortunately, I got to witness that at close range. I got to be around some really good coaches that helped fast track me in my career, and I tried to do the same on my end of the bargain.
Yep, and of course your coaching career, you were here, and then you spent some time in South Bend. You went to high school in South Bend when your dad was coaching at Notre Dame, and what was that experience like?
Well, it was great because we were one of the top teams in the country. We had a lot of recognizable players, Joe Montana, and the list goes on, and what a rich tradition the Fighting Irish have. And that years at Notre Dame, I think, really motivated me to be a coach. I knew what I wanted to do when I was 16, 17 years old.
Yeah, and of course you went to college at the University of Dayton and then got into coaching. I always sort of marvel when I look at your coaching resume about how every year it was sort of like another stop for you. Like you didn't stay any place too long on your way up the ladder, but you worked for a lot of great people and you learned a lot of different things along the way. Those early years in college and those early years in the NFL, you learned a lot very, very quickly about this coaching profession, didn't you?
Well, my dad taught me, focus your concentration on one position. And I wanted to be a quarterback coach. I wasn't a very good quarterback in college, but I was fortunate to go to Tennessee and work for Walt Harris, who was a great quarterback coach. I got to work for Paul Hackett, great quarterback coach at Pittsburgh. Mike Holmgren, one of the best quarterback coaches, obviously at the Green Bay Packers. And some of that stuff couldn't help but rub off on me. Not that I was a great quarterback coach, but I certainly did my best to become as highly organized and educated as I could.
Yeah, and then obviously you became the offensive coordinator for the first time in Philadelphia and did really well there. And then wound up getting your first head coaching job in Oakland. And you were the youngest head coach in the NFL. I think you were 34. Yeah, when you became a head coach, and that fast track, kind of got you as a head coach in the NFL, and I think you learned a lot as a coordinator too about just sort of running a team too. And as a young guy, 34, being a head coach in the NFL must have been quite the experience for you.
Well, working for Al Davis, every year is like a dog year. Every year is like 7 years. But Ron Wolf was a Hall of Fame general manager of the Green Bay Packers. Being around him was great. And then obviously being around Al Davis, you can't help but learn football and get mentally tougher when you're with Al Davis, because his demands are very high, his expectations are extremely high, and I actually like the pressure of being there and being judged by Al Davis. I think it helped me in the long run get the most out of my career.
Yep, and then where our paths crossed again was when Tampa Bay Buccaneers needed a new coach. And they wanted you, and Al Davis said no, can't have him. And they looked around and said, well, what if we give you a little bit? And they one of the rare coaching trades sort of in NFL history, where the Buccaneers gave up a couple of first-round draft picks to get you, and then there we were back in Tampa, reunited again. And you were the head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, that was a storybook deal, because my mom and dad lived in Tampa. My dad had been a coach for the Buccaneers, been the personnel director of the Buccaneers. My dad's the guy that drafted Bo Jackson. He's the guy that drafted Steve Young. He got fired for drafting those two guys. But we've had a long history with Tampa, and going back home was really cool. And obviously we got off to a great start winning the Super Bowl, and we managed to hang on and win a few divisions there and stay competitive, and I'm really proud of those years.
Yeah, well, I was living through that and working through that. I was working at the Tampa Tribune at the time, so I was glad to have the Grudens back and everything. And year one was I was always of the argument, obviously Tony Dungy, great man, great coach and everything, was the coach prior to you getting there, and that team kept falling a little bit short, and then a change was needed, and then year one, Super Bowl champions. But I've always sort of made the argument that was definitely a different Tampa Bay Buccaneers team, that you certainly put your stamp on that team very early, but had a lot of great memories from that year. Is there any specific memories that sort of jump out at you from that first year and being back in Tampa during that season?
There's so many. I probably, we could have a long podcast going over it. My favorite memory was just being around the players. We had Warren Sapp and Derek Brooks. We had a great defensive team, John Lynch, Hall of Fame players. But I think it was the emergence of our offense that really carried us and pushed us over the top. Brad Johnson, our quarterback, led the NFC in passing that year. Mike Allstott made some critical yards in key situations. And we just started gelling as a team. We started winning on defense early, and we started winning as a team as the playoffs got going. And we were a heck of a football team by the end of that Super Bowl.
Absolutely. I think what a lot of people forget about like that year especially was how good that offense became, over the course of time. I mean, Brad, of course, I've known Brad forever too from my Florida State days, and I always remind people in college too. It's like when they're kind of having to sit the bench on college behind some guys. Like, he sat behind Charlie Ward, who won a Heisman Trophy, and Brad didn't play a whole lot of college football at all. But he still was good enough to play in the NFL, and he certainly that Super Bowl year was he was as good as they came. That year, and of course, work done, and Mike Allstott running the ball, and you had Keenan McCardle. I thought was a huge addition that year, and that offense was really good. One of my favorite memories there, because I know, and it was because I think of how much you enjoyed it. I remember that because I think that was the last year there was no bye week from the NFC Championship game to going out to San Diego, so it was all quick. And I remember you on the practice field running the Raiders offense and being the quarterback that you never were. Just kind of running around and where it was more.
I still have that tape.
I bet you do. You've probably broken it down a few times too, haven't you?
Well, we had the #1 defense in the world, and I knew I could simulate Gannon. Yeah. I knew his snap count. That was our snap count. I knew the plays he was going to audible to. Here's the greenskeeper here probably trying to get rid of us. People are after me, just so you know. But I still have that video, and I completed a couple passes. I'll never forget, I threw a slant to Carl Williams, and all the players on the side were screaming, oh, they couldn't believe it. Then I hit another little wide flare. I think I flipped it out there to Reggie Barlow, but I had 2 completions against our defense.
There you go. We get the #1 defense I've ever seen. So, yeah. But that was great. And then, of course, a couple nights later in San Diego, a dream come true, obviously, for any coach to win a Super Bowl trophy. That was just a tremendous, well-played game on both sides, and a couple of interceptions back for TDs, and scored 49 points, I think it was that day. But like when you win, like the night you win a Super Bowl, like when it's all said and done, and you get back around friends and family, it's like that had to be just a heck of a moment, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was thinking about retiring, having a walk-off. That's it, coming back to the Cascades, playing golf with some of the Hoosiers. You know, I have been what I should have done. I should have just said, that's enough. Yeah. But to share that with your coaches and your players and the families and people that knew how much went into it was really special. And that was the first one Tampa Bay had ever gotten, so there was a lot to that win.
Yes, they had, and you've always argued that it's like, for a team that, whenever you win your first, you cherish that forever, and that was a great year. And then had another half dozen years or so there, and some moments. A lot of, Mike Allstott's one of my all-time favorite guys still, and still run into him every once in a while. And just a lot of great players on that team and your time there. And then you spent some time at Eddie. Once you got fired by the Bucs, you started the Fired Football Coaches of America thing, and I absolutely used to love when you would bring the college guys in for breaking down film and preparing for the draft and all that stuff. And I think that was probably something you enjoyed just as much as running a team day to day, didn't you?
I really did. We would do Monday Night Football during the fall, and then getting ready for the draft in the spring, I would study all the quarterbacks, just like I would if I was a coach. And we did 63 shows at ESPN. I think 57 of them were quarterbacks. We did Kenny Chesney, Eddie DeBartolo. We did a couple defensive guys. They keep those guys out of it. But I really got to learn the offense that these players ran. I got to know the quarterbacks. I got to work them out, and got to share some good humor and some good football with football fans around the world. It was really cool.
Yeah, and you obviously you did so many of them. You basically had good working knowledge pretty much of every quarterback who was playing in the NFL at the time. Over the course of that time, didn't you?
It really did. And we had Andrew Luck walk in from Stanford, and we take Andrew Luck to work him out. And next, here comes Russell Wilson out of North Carolina State / Wisconsin, and then Cam Newton walks through the door. And there's some obscure players that came out of nowhere that have turned out to be really good players, like Ryan Tannehill, who came out of Texas A&M, was a part-time wide receiver. But just some really good stories and some really good coaching that went into bringing those guys along.
Yeah, and then the itch was there to get back into coaching, and
yeah, a little bit. You can't win any games on Monday Night Football. You can just announce who won and who lost.
But you can't lose any either.
That's true. It probably added some years to my life, and I had such a great time with Chip Dean and Jay Rothman, the director and producer of Monday Night Football, and Mike Tirico is still one of my best friends.
Sure.
And when Mike left, to me it was really never the same.
Yeah.
And it probably pushed me a little bit towards getting back into business.
Yeah. And so then you went back to the Raiders. Yep. Obviously a different time then, but success early, kind of just trying to put that franchise back together that had really gone through a lot of struggles from the time you had left them. I think they only had like 3 winning seasons in between your...
The Raiders were struggling, and they were struggling the first time when I went back, and we tried to turn them around. We did the best we could, and we made progress. But my first year in Oakland was supposedly going to be the last year in Oakland. We ended up playing 2 years there, and we went 4-12. We made some trades that were very tough. but we went 7-9 the next year. We moved to Las Vegas, which is a real challenge on any football team when you change venues. And then we had COVID hit. We play our first year in Vegas. We're 8-8. No fans in the stands, unfortunately. And obviously, my last year we were off to a pretty good start. But lightning struck, and here I am, glad to be here at Cascades with the Hoosiers.
Yeah. That was. It's mid-October here now. It was about a year ago. Where it all ended for you, and I know that's hard. I don't know how much you want to talk about it or not, but I know it just for you, the person, and you, the coach, for that to sort of end the way it did, I'm sure that had to be extremely difficult for you.
Yeah, I'm very proud of what I've done in football, and I think, the years I've been in this business speak for themselves. I wasn't perfect, and I'll admit that, but I'm very passionate about football and passionate about life, and God has another thing for me right now, and I'm gonna stay ready if I'm given another opportunity, and if I'm not, I'm gonna be in better condition. I'm going to be a much better golfer, and hopefully I can live a little bit longer.
Yeah. So your golf game in the past 12 months, has it gotten better?
Gotten a lot better. Yeah. You're going to find out today. I'm going to get some of these guys money, man. I'm going to make some money here from these guys and buy a couple cold beverages later with it.
There you go. Yeah, and I know you've got some legal stuff with the NFL. We don't want to bother talking about all of that.
Nothing to talk about. It's a waste of time to talk. Actions will speak loudly. It'll all take care of itself, and I'm confident, very confident, that the truth will be told, and we'll move on. But in the time being, somebody's got the Raider job. I continue to watch my former team. My son's out there. I still pull for the silver and black, and hopefully during this bye week they can regain their confidence and finish with a fury here.
And you've got your 3 kids and your son Deuce. Right? He's with the Raiders, right?
He is. My oldest son, John II, we call him Deuce. Yep. I named him after Sterling Sharp when I was coaching in Green Bay. He's one of the top power lifters in the world. He won the world championship a few years ago, and he's a strength coach with the Raiders. My other son, Mike, is a music producer in Vegas. He's doing extremely well. And my youngest son, Jason, he's a chip off the old block. He's a fighter. He's 2-0. And he's at USF. He is. He's gotten in the ring twice, and I'm really proud of all 3 of my sons.
Yeah, good. And you're 59 years old now, right?
59 years old, and my wife Cindy is the quarterback now. She's calling the shots. Yeah. And it's exciting. It's been a lot of fun. I'm really doing well. Thank you.
You're hoping to have another coaching job in your future still? Are you still hoping that can happen?
I don't know. I'm still privately helping several people that I've grown up in coaching with, and I plan on it, But like I said, the good Lord he'll determine what's next for me. Yeah. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah. And as we sign off, Terry Tallen, you've kind of known him for a long time too.
It's a big story, where I've been and what I've done and where I am now in coaching is it's all in the past. When you come back here to see Terry Tallen, and you're going to see guys like Mike Harkrader, whatever Mike Harkrader wants, Mike Harkrader gets in Bloomington as long as I'm here. He saved our butt, man. And we're going to get to see Don Fisher, the voice of the Hoosiers, who we still imitate. Isaac, Headset. You ever heard that guy's voice? I mean, the guy's phenomenal. So we're going to reunite with a lot of former Hoosiers, and Tim Clifford, one of the ex-quarterbacks, will be here. Sure. I'm still looking for Tim Wilbur.
Yeah, old number 8. Yeah. He was a tough guy.
So yeah, we'll see Harold Morrow, one of our former coaching friends, and even some of the Cascades golfers that we grew up with are going to show up today. So
it's nice being back in Bloomington, isn't it?
It sure is, yeah, sure is.
Well, John, I really appreciate you taking the time today. Thanks for being a part of the Tallen Time podcast. And we'll talk to you, talk a little bit more, and we'll enjoy the good day on the golf course. And a couple of days in Bloomington will be a good time.
Very good, thank you very much.
John, thank you. All right, well, we'll take a break and hear from some of our sponsors. When we come back, Terry and I will wrap things up for episode 9 of the Tallen Time podcast.
Welcome to the New Calm family. My name is Jim Poole. I'm the president and CEO of Solace Life Sciences, the neuroscience company that makes New Calm. And what is it? It's simply a technology that when you're feeling stressed or you're not sleeping well, whatever it is that life brings you, New Calm is a tool that predictably, safely, and reliably is going to take good care of you. Find a comfortable place. Put the disc on, eye mask, Choose your track. You're going to lie down. What's going to happen? Your mind's going to wander. But here's how you'll know New Calm's working. You'll begin to feel your body separate from your mind. Your mind's going to wander, and your body's going to feel heavy, and your respiration's going to slow down. And you're going to go somewhere where your mind just wanders and your body heals. And then at some point, you just kind of come to. Simply take off the eye mask, stop the track, take the disc off, and off you go.
And here they come, and Indiana got to him. Sack.
Indiana football is back.
Touchdown!
Hoosier fans, Indiana football tickets are on sale for November home games. Catch the action this fall at Memorial Stadium as head coach Tom Allen leads the Hoosiers in a battle against the Penn State Nittany Lions on November 5th. For more information or to purchase tickets, visit IUHoosiers.com. Support the Hoosiers in 2022. Go IU.
This ad is being brought to you by Barker Wellness, a vegan wellness company. Started by Blink 182 member and drumming legend Travis Barker, Barker Wellness covers all your lifestyle needs, from tinctures and gummies that aid in sleep, recovery, and maintenance, to the pain relief balms, rollers, and creams. They also have recently launched their vegan skincare line as well.
This is Terry Tallen and Tallen Time for Barker Wellness. Barker Wellness is one of our terrific sponsors that we're honored to have signing up for the program and to work with the people at Barker. We use many of their products. Their pain creams and ointments and rollers, especially the rollers, are fantastic. We highly recommend it for athletes, for those with arthritis, for those baby boomers that have these aches and pains. They also have hemp and non-hemp CBD products that help people sleep. And depending on what your needs are in those realms, Barker is the finest in the market. The management is extraordinary. They deliver what they sell, and I guarantee if you try Barker, you'll try no others.
Visit barkerwellness.com and use promo code TALLEN30 to get 30% off your first order.
Welcome back to episode 9 of Tallen Time, here with Jon Gruden now. So this is a Gruden family day on the show, and we're here at the beautiful Cascades Golf Course, about ready to go out and play around with about 16 of our brothers. So, John, when we announced to some of our viewers you were going to be on the show today, they had a few questions. And one of them, what kind of music does Jon Gruden listen to?
Oh man, I'm classic rock. If we sat here together and played Name That Tune, I would tear you up, Terry.
Let's bring it on.
I'm good, man. I like AC/DC. I like it all. I like all the old stuff. I'm having a hard time with the new stuff, but I do know Kenny Chesney well, so he's another guy I throw in there. Classic rock, Kenny Chesney.
I like that No Shoes Radio.
Yeah.
We listened to that one, and John Mellencamp's one of my favorites. He lives right down the street from here, and John, we want to get you on a future episode too. So we kind of grew up together in a way. I mean, we were in Bloomington at the same time. You're about 5-6 years younger than I am. And then the situation in growing up in Ohio, right? You went to University of Dayton, and Dayton Flyer quarterback, and then Tampa. And we both lived in Tampa for quite some time. And of course, you're still a resident of Tampa, and we got to catch up through our great friend T-Bird Shannon.
Yes, sir. Tommy Shannon, one of the founders of Outback Steak. Great friend to have, and a good loyal friend to have for sure.
He was Tom was the first person I called when I was offered the naming rights deal for the Indiana football complex. And I said, Tom, what do you think? He's like, Terry, he's got that voice. He said, Terry, you got to do it, man. You got to do it, man. So I called Fred Glassback and said, I'm in. And that was as simple as it was. So
I'll tell you what's funny, and not to steal your podcast, but I have a little history doing these interviews too, brother.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, a lot more than mine.
Tommy Shannon, he filled me in on what you're doing and what you've become. I mean, you've done an unbelievable job in your career, and for the amount of donations that you put back into Indiana, man, we thank you. I mean, it's awesome. I can't wait to see the football locker room, and that's a big part of winning football now, having the facilities, now the NIL. If you don't have alumni and boosters that are going to propel the team, you're in trouble. And we thank you, man, for what you're doing.
Well, it's an honor to be able to do it and to have the opportunity to do it. The university did a terrific job with the architecture and the engineering. It's kind of an engineering feat to put under that old stadium. You guys, remember that locker room? And it's 25,000 square feet, state of the art, and it's spectacular. Thank you so much for saying that. Your dad's a coach. What's it like to have your dad as a coach and you being a player?
Well, it's tough. It's tough being the son of a coach, because you go to the games and, if we lose, Dad's not in a good mood that week. And if we lose again, Dad might not have a job next week. There's a lot of pressure. So I remember going to the stadium. My whole life I've been in a state of rage. If we're playing Kentucky, boy, I hate Kentucky. If we play Purdue, I hate Purdue anyways, but I hate Purdue. And then we play Western Michigan, boy, I hate Western Michigan. I hate whoever we're playing. And being at Indiana when Coach Corso came here, it was a struggle big time initially. And they got better and better and became very competitive, but losing is tough. Winning is the most exciting thing, and that's the great thing about being in sports, is the scoreboard and competing.
It sure is, and in the big circle with sports also, right? Like your dad helped me, now you and I are together, we'll help other people, we'll do some things here for some young student athletes, and it's just wonderful. Now, I have to ask you though, with your dad being a coach and a scratch golfer, do you take golf lessons from him, or do you get third-party golf lessons?
I did. I was his caddy. When he was at the height of his golf career, I was the caddy. I got $2 a round. The guy really didn't pay worth a damn. But I learned a lot of, the etiquette of golf. I learned a lot of just the fine nuances of chipping and putting and scoring. And I never was very good because I spent a lot of time coaching. But now that I'm out of coaching, I'm on the way towards a single-digit handicap. I'm going to tear this Cascades up today.
Well, let's bring it on, baby. Let's go out and have some fun out there. So one of the things I see in you and I see in myself, and I think it's kind of from where we grew up and some similar experiences. Maybe you see passion, you see intensity, you see aggressiveness, you see will to win, will to prepare. What do you say about that kind of thing? Because I see passion in you. I just feel passion.
Well, effort. Effort takes no talent. If you want to be good at anything, you better put forth great effort. And that involves getting up in the morning and going to bed at night and really having a routine where you're really going to work your butt off to be the best you can possibly be. And surround yourself with people that have a similar vision. I like guys that are in the left lane, guys that are like going quick, guys that are moving. I like action. But all those things you said, those are the fundamentals of life, the way I see it. You play football to get mental toughness, to learn sportsmanship and teamwork and all the work ethic things that have helped you in business, I'm sure you got from playing football.
Oh, I sure did. And, my goal was to play in the NFL. And it didn't work out. I went out with the Kansas City Chiefs as a free agent middle linebacker, and I was injured and I was cut. And my injury went throughout the season. And, I've used that for fuel for the fire ever since. And the fire's still burning. There's a lot of gas left in the tank. I just want to thank you for coming out here today, and I think we're going to have a very special week and weekend here. We're going to watch Indiana hopefully beat Maryland this weekend. I think the team has really got their heads in the right place. They made some adjustments last week that I think are going to pay some dividends. And most of all, man, it's great to get to know you better now. Like I said, we kind of grew up around each other, and it's great to be alive in a Hoosier.
It really is. And number 62, Terry Tallen. My dad recruited him, told him he was going to be a linebacker. And when you got to training camp, they made you an offensive lineman. A lot of people don't know the versatility that you had.
Well, that's one way of putting it, but I was captain of the Ohio All-Stars at linebacker, and I was All-State offensive guard, and other schools wanted me to play guard, and I said no, and I said, I want to play linebacker. He said, fine. So then we get together in Tampa with T-Bird, and you said to me, what position did you play? And I said, middle linebacker, and he said, I thought you were a guard. So I'm in that line looking for number 32 or 34 or something, and I get 62, and well, I called my parents and I said I'm screwed. But it all worked out. They moved me to nose tackle. I had a lot of fun playing that. That's really a very fun position. But it's interesting when you recruit somebody to play nose tackle. It was a linebacker. The recruiting pitch is, you're going to get double teamed a lot, but you don't have to run far, So, but I really enjoyed it, and just a great experience. So thanks again, man.
Welcome back. What a tremendous episode 9 of Talent Time. We keep outdoing ourselves, I think, and Jim and Jon Gruden both were just fabulous, and what a bunch of great stories that were told today here at Cascades Golf Course.
It sure was. It's like old home week here at Cascades to see the Grudens and our other teammates that are here today, and I think we had a terrific podcast, and we hope you enjoyed it.
Yep, it was a blast to do, and again, thanks to Jim Gruden and Jon Gruden for taking the time to be a part of it today, and really appreciate John's candor too for all he's been through and everything that those guys have accomplished in their lives. It's been wonderful. So hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll look forward to seeing you back next week on another episode of the Talent Time podcast.